Greetings everyone, Ariel Helwani here in Boston for the big UFC Fight Night, Conor McGregor versus Dennis Siver fight. And of course, we have some time off while we're here, so we thought that we would come visit the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum, which is a fantastic location. You can learn a whole lot about the history of the Boston Tea Party and do a lot of cool interactive stuff. You can even drink tea. And then I thought, you know what, I don't want to do this by myself. It's kind of boring to do that and a little lonely. So who better than the tea aficionado of the UFC, the man who loves tea more than anything on this planet, the one and only Paddy, the Hooligan Holohan, to join us here today to experience this whole thing. Paddy, how are you?
Absolute pleasure to be here.
Great to see you, my friend.
Pleasure to be here. Who knew? At the Boston Tea Party, drinking tea with Ariel Helwani. Well,
what a life.
It never fails to blow my mind.
And of course, Paddy is fighting this Sunday on Fox Sports 1 against Shane Howell. You have a big fight. You're coming back from the first loss of your career, and we thought maybe just 24 hours or so before the weigh-ins, this would be a good way to kind of get you in the mood, get you settled in.
Yes, I feel the vibe already from being in Boston since Sunday, and I'm excited. I'm excited for Sunday to come.
And I know you love tea very much, so I wanted to experience a little tea tasting with you to see why you love this thing. What goes through your mind when you're tasting tea for the first time? So to me, it's an honor, and I thank you for joining us.
Absolute honor to me as well. Let's do this.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go. All right, Paddy, we're here in Abigail's tea room. Look at this. All this tea. This is like Christmas morning, right?
This is pretty cool, yeah. You couldn't have visualized this, could you?
I know way. We have come a long way. And I brought my friend Evan here.
Hello, gentlemen.
How are you, Evan?
Very well. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's great. It's great to be here. Paddy is a tea enthusiast, an aficionado, if you will.
I heard that about you, sir.
In Ireland, I am the king of tea.
So Evan is going to tell us about all these teas that they have here in Abigail's tea room. And we're going to have a little tasting session.
Yes, we are. What you have before you, gentlemen, are the 5 different types of teas that were thrown overboard during the Boston Tea Party on the evening of December 16th, 1773. There are 2 different types of green teas and 3 black teas, and there is a wide variety of differences between all 5 flavors. The first one we'll sample is called Singlo. Singlo is a very delicate flavored green tea. Now, of course, what makes tea green is at the type of bush that it grows on and the time of the year during which it is picked. Green teas are generally from the higher portions of the bush, which means the leaves are smaller and they are much younger. Please, do sample some if you wish.
Is it a camellia plant?
Yes, it is actually a camellia plant, indeed.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What do you think, gentlemen?
Being honest, I wouldn't be a big green tea drinker.
Well, I think you're a more robust man, sir. We'll get to those black teas in a moment, but let's finish the green teas here. This next one is called Young Hyson.
If you don't mind me asking, Paddy, why?
Because I reckon this was the first tea they were thrown off the boat.
I'm not a big fan of Singlo either, but Young Hyson was the favorite tea of 2 very important people in this time period, General George Washington and Mr. Thomas Jefferson of Virginia. Young Hyson tea is picked before April 20th every year, the earliest leaves picked during the tea picking season. And it was so popular in Boston that it was found in almost every tea shop throughout the city in 1773.
Paddy?
That one's kind of like taking a shot, isn't it?
Still not a fan, huh?
No, this
He's a very critical tea drinker.
This is okay.
He is indeed.
Which do you like better so far?
That one was like taking a shot.
A shot.
You know, that kind of, and then that one's just kind of smooth. I drink that if I went to my friend's house and he said, "We only have green tea," and I would say, "What?" We are
Well,
friends.
you can sweeten it with sugar or honey if you wish, and that was acceptable back in colonial times as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
green tea was kind of like an upper class thing, wasn't it?
it was quite upper class. And the lower classes, where I'm from, of course, we would have had more of the black teas. We have Conju over here. Conju's nickname was Kung Fu, and given your line of work, sir, this may be up more of your alley here. The black teas are, of course, picked later in the tea picking season, and they have a much more robust flavor. What do you think of that, gentlemen?
That's going a little bit greeny and black, isn't it?
A little bit, yes. Yeah, it's a bit softer.
How do you
black
feel?
Teas.
Yeah, it's all right.
You all right? I think anything with green in it is not your style.
No, I'm more of a breakfast man. I'm more of a breakfast tea man. Because in Ireland we do drink the highest grade quality tea in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
In the world?
And we drink more cups. I think it's like pound for pound, as we would know.
Yes, exactly.
In the world, like 4 cups a day per person on the whole island.
Well, we would have fit in colonial Boston, sir. It was, on average, 1 million cups of tea were brewed in the colonies every year. Tea was the drink of 1773.
The guys would have been throwing it off, and I would have been getting in after it.
Jumping in.
Yeah, not the brown tea.
Yeah.
Let's get to my favorite flavor now.
Okay,
This
okay.
is the Souchong tea. And Souchong has the heartiest of all the flavors. Souchong tea was baked over an open fire over smoldering pine wood. And it has a very smoky aroma.
Yes.
If I could just see your
Right over here, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's serious.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You can feel it?
Kind of smells like steak or something.
Oh yeah, it
Doesn't
does.
it?
Wow.
You could marinate a steak with that.
I'm sure you could.
You can marinate meat with tea.
Really?
Oh yeah,
What do you think, Paddy?
that's the bee's knees.
That's my favorite as well. Sir?
Yes. Well, I mean, this is all very new to me.
Very
I'm a
new.
tea virgin, if you will.
He was popping his cherry with the hooligan.
Yeah, that's right. This is nice. You know, Patty was telling me how many bags of tea did you bring to Boston for your
I
fight
brought
week,
80 tea bags of a certain
80
brand.
tea bags, my goodness.
and how many are left?
None. None.
In a
Again,
week.
you would have fit in here in colonial Boston.
I'd be sharing my tea out and all, like even with the UFC staff. Someone would be like, "Oh, you like that tea?" Right, I'll bring them down a handful. I'll break them off a little bit. You know what I
Of
mean?
course, you know, we were taxed for our tea here in Boston, but the real crux of the matter was the tea that was being shipped to colonial America was over 3 years expired. Here in Abigail's Tea Room, we serve the finest qualities of teas, of course. But back in 1773, the tea had been packed in with people's feet over in China,
Wow.
stored in London warehouses for over 3 years, and then shipped to Boston. So we were sold the poorest quality tea, and we were taxed on top of that.
I feel your pain. We used to get the same thing. I think the English used to mix all the bad teas together and send them to Ireland. They did, and then one time they sent this tea, and it was supposed to be so good that the man never returned who brought the tea.
Really?
He just kept the tea. The English cut off the tea supply to Ireland in World War II, and then we got our own suppliers because we adapted, and we went to India, and that's why we have.
And you can relate to the whole Tea Party movement because the English were suppressing the people, right?
Exactly, they were controlling what people like. You know what I mean? What people want, the demand and supply, and I think tea is a part in the history. It's crazy how much like going into it, like, and even in people's lives. You
Right.
know what I mean? I think there's a lot of memories for me from with tea.
Well, thank you, Evan.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so-
Did we get them all?
Really appreciate
No,
that.
we have one left, that's Boohee. Now again, Boohee was the most popular and the cheapest tea here in the colonies.
Now that's kind of like
Very
that's
good.
high quality tea. That is. Yeah.
Very good indeed.
That's your favorite?
Well, that one
Boohee.
that would be what
Boohee.
I drink.
Okay.
Tasty. Hey, all this other stuff is real nice. It's really good, but it's kind of like what you would get in a restaurant over here.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Fancy.
It takes me an hour to order a cup of tea over here. It's
Why?
Like, do you want the hot? Do you want the cold? Do you want breakfast tea? Do you want it to take go, stay or go? And it's just honey, sugar. It's like just tea.
How do you feel about iced tea?
No.
No,
Nah,
you
that's
don't do
a
that.
crime.
It's a crime.
It's a crime.
You guys drink iced tea? Back
We
in
drink
the day?
iced coffee here.
Iced coffee,
but,
okay.
Not so much iced tea.
Iced coffee's not bad. Like them fraps and things like that are nice. But,
They had fraps in 1700s?
Well, something similar, I'm sure.
yeah, Starbucks and all.
That's I'm sure, yes, I'm sure. Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
We
Thank
really
you for
appreciate that,
coming
man. That was it.
I wanted to ask you a few more questions about your affinity for tea.
Yeah, let's go.
When's the first time that you ever remembered loving tea or trying it where it actually affected you?
My grandmother's house definitely would have been. You come home from school and they have. There used to be a program on telly called The Den. There used to be like this talking turkey and things like that on it. And you would sit down and you have a cup of tea. I used to have a little badger cup, it's a plastic little badger cup. And my grandmother now, rest her now, but she would just fill you with tea all day. I remember running around back around to my house with a belly full of tea, nearly squishing like a water bottle. And then the same with my mother as well. My mother would never cook you a dinner. The woman would burn the house down, but that woman can make tea.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I think I got her skill from that. Sometimes I'd make the guys tea if we're off somewhere, and it's always, that's a savage cup of tea. You know what I mean? I'll make the best tea.
So we're here in Boston. Do you feel like this is your first time, right?
Yeah, first time in Boston, yeah.
Do you feel like there are elements of Dublin? Does it feel like home a little bit?
Oh, yeah, really, really does. And I already said it to John the other day that...
John Kavanagh, your coach.
John Kavanagh, my coach, yeah. There's not many places I'd live outside of Dublin. And he's the same as well. But Iceland would be one of them. And here, I really like this place. This is, there's a great vibe to it and everyone's friendly. And any other kind of cities I've been in America, I don't know whether people are too scared to interact with other people or something like that. It's kind of like they're afraid of other human races or other people. And like we're in Dublin, for me, I talk to everyone. You know what I mean? I want to know everything. I want to know what they do. I want to know what they think, what they believe. And like even when we come to different cities, you'll always find me down in like the poor area, just walking through it. I like to just see people just going to work and just how they live and like. I'm simple, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a simple interest like that. I don't have too many. They're the things I want to go see when I go see a city and drink tea with it.
You know, the last time you fought was in Halifax, and you were alone essentially. I mean, you had your teammates there. Aisling Daly was in your corner and all that, but it wasn't like this or Dublin, where you had Carl Pendred, of course, Conor McGregor. Do you like it better when you guys are fighting on the same card?
Definitely. There's a serious power between us when we all together. We've been doing this for a long, long time, all the way back to the shows when we first started. I remember being 3-0 going into a card, and we were doing the same thing here. And it's pretty amazing to be doing with the guys. I came up with people do ask questions like, what's so special between you? And I came up with it's like when a guy comes here, say my opponent's coming here to fight me. I don't know if he has anybody else in the card. I haven't checked it, but he's coming here like an alcoholic, surrounded by other people that just drink and they don't know his pain. But when you're coming with a team of us, it's like coming to an AA meeting. Everyone knows what you're going through, you know what I mean? And sometimes when you're slipping and you're feeling, someone will grab you and drag you and shake you and be like, you okay? And you're, yeah, okay. And we're all sitting in the gym and we're all doing it together. We're all making the weight together. But when other guys are going there, one guy is making the weight and the other guys, they might all be with you, but then they will turn and have their conversation and live their life and probably have a pint at the bar and eat whatever they want to eat, and you will go through that yourself, you know what I mean? But with us, we go through it as a unit. It's an AA meeting, an SBG meeting.
Is it somewhat surreal though? I mean, you know, I've talked to Conor about this a little bit, and John. I mean, you guys have come from the lowest of the lows, right, as far as the local scene. And look at you now on this card. I mean, this is a card that is very much built around you guys, right? I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Conor is the attraction, but it's very much an Irish card, right? And it's no coincidence you're all on the same card. Is it surreal to think about how far you've come in a pretty short amount of time, right? Yeah,
I try not to think of it too much at the time, but because even I know when I'm approaching these things, and it's like anything in Irish history or it always gets bigger as it goes on. So when we look back on this will be bigger than it is. This will grow every year. We have a thing called folklore. And that's where we will go after this. It's like a story. So Dublin is already, I can feel it. And I said it before that show as well. This is something special. Everyone doesn't know how special this actually is. I do. And like, if I was to put them 3 posters on my wall, the Dublin show, the Boston show, and the Crow Park show, if I was to put them 3 fight shows, that would literally be the pride of my home. You know what I mean? That would be a serious experience to have them things, and like you would sit and tell stories over tea about them events forever. Everyone will always want to know what it was like, and that's what I want to be part of. Like, it's not people to be saying to me, oh, you go for the title, Sean, and you work your way up and then you get this and all. Like, I want to be part of this journey. I want to enjoy every single bit of it, and like my son gets to be part of this journey, and I get to tell him stories, and then my other kids that are going to come along, he'll be able to tell his version of events. And so to me, it's a big, huge experience that I take very, very serious. Within my training, these are the things that I'm thinking. I'm not thinking, oh well, everyone will love me after this and the people will accept me and all. To be honest, I don't really care what other people think about me, and like whether it's win, lose, or anything like that. But I found out who the real people were after the candidate fight. You know what I mean? And to be honest, I did not get one negative comment.
Wow.
Yeah, I got probably a more positive response from the loss than I've got from wins. People literally, they related with me. You know what I mean? And with this one, I want to show people that it's okay to fall over. You know what I mean? But you must get back up. You must stand back on your own 2 feet. Because if not, you'll fall over again, and people will just stand all over you. You know what I mean? So that's been a skill I've been able to get since I was a kid for a long time. You know what I mean? Sucking power from pain, and these are the things that you've got to do. I was very good at self repair, and that's how I get this done. And I'm not really looking at it the way everyone else is looking at it at the moment. I will though.
Yeah.
I will. When I get that house on the hill and I'm sitting in that sit-room, I'm sipping some of this fine bohea. I'll be able to do that with other kids running around, and my time will have passed then. But right now, I'm taking advantage of. I'm living in the moment. I'm trying not to think of what we have done or where we are now, and isn't it amazing? Because them feelings can change in your head and turn you into doubt and turn other things. And we're just here. It's only 20,000 people or whatever out in this stadium, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? You cannot change. If you blow it up in your head, it will blow up in your head and it'll affect you. You know what I mean? I hope the other guys are doing that.
So let's talk about Canada, because you went into that fight in Halifax. You were undefeated. You had an opponent, and then just days, on the Monday before the fight, they announced he's out. There's a new guy, relatively unknown, Chris Kalidas, right? And it doesn't go your way. Fun fight, doesn't go your way. So of this SBG team and this movement, you're the first guy to lose, right?
Yeah.
That day, actually, right? It was the same day.
I was watching it on the bus on the way.
Did that affect you?
No, not really.
So what about the aftermath? You said it was great and you got a better response. But in your mind, as you're leaving the cage, what were you thinking after you had just lost the fight and knowing the great run that you guys had been on?
I felt like I let the country down, to be honest. I felt like I felt horrible. I really did feel horrible inside, but I wasn't going to beat myself up, because I'm like, I pulled myself up out of nothing to get here. You know what I mean? I'm not going to beat myself up over this. This is going to make me, and this is going to be who I am. And they always never mattered to me. But then John, we had a conversation about it, and he said sometimes secretly you can, without you even knowing the pressure of being undefeated. When the guy calls out, you're undefeated. And like, I'd probably be the only Irishman to ever go that long being undefeated. I think I would be. So it's a real good kind of thing. That's a first as well, and it's a history book thing, but it's a competition at the end of the day, and the more you enter, the more the higher the probability can be that your mind is not there on the day. And I was going through personal stuff at that time. Something had happened in my life, and it'll be in the book.
Okay.
But
you don't want to talk about it?
No, I don't want to talk about it, but everyone knows. Like, one of my friends died and things like that at the time, and
how?
It was she took her own life. You know what I mean, in a way. So
did you have any idea she was having problems?
Yeah, loads of problems. We were talking to her brother. It was just one of those situations where something's going to happen, and it was there was no stopping it. You know what I mean? And it was,
how much before the fight did it happen?
I think it was 3 weeks or something before the fight. I took the fight. I took the fight and visited that girl's grave, you know what I mean? So John rang me and asked me, do you want this fight in Canada? You're going to be on your own. It's in 5 weeks. And I had the weight to cut and all at that time, so I had 5 weeks to cut the weight. And there's just lots going on, but as I'm saying, the attitude that I took towards this is, these are the things that you got to do, you know what I mean? You can't use these, that could be, they can be excuses to you know what I mean? There's no such thing, there's only action. You got to take the action, and that's what I did that time, you know what I mean? And I felt that, as I'm saying about the pace, remember what I was saying, there's a build up between the team, and there's nothing going on now. I'm literally in a really, really good place now, and like the whole Dublin was still lingering, and it was very new, it was very raw, and some people can do that. Some people can just jump from things like that, you know what I mean? But I'm in touch with myself, and I know how I feel, and sometimes I can know, like, listen, you need to take a day off today, you need to chill and get your mind together. And that's what's got me here. So I trust my feelings. I ain't going to go against them. So there was a lot going on at that fight, but it's all to bed now. It's all to rest now. And we've got a good 9-10 weeks in for this camp. I knew this was coming up, and it being Boston and all, this suits me. It's perfect for me because I feed off that energy, you know what I mean? Where Chris Kalidas, that energy that brought him through that fight that day as well. I could feel it in him as he was dying off. A big surge would come, and it's he's back, and you're fighting again, and you're wrestling to hold the position, and it could have went the other way. It could have took us back, and when it took us back in the first round, it could have finished that choke, and it would have been just a different story here today, and I wouldn't have experienced what I experienced. And that's the most important.
How long did it take for you to get over it?
Over the fight?
Yeah.
a day.
A day, that's it. And then you were done.
Yeah, it's like spilled milk, you know what I mean? There's no point in crying over it. The result is there. I can go home and say, oh, like, I don't want to do this now, but I'm doing it. I love this. I'm so happy to be able to go to Nova Scotia from Dublin with just me and Aisling and Artem, and like, this is, as you were saying there, like, do you understand? At that moment, I was like, I cannot miss out on this. I'll never see Nova Scotia again in my life. And with the switch with opponent, not that it was like a big off-putting thing, but the dimensions were all wrong. Do you know what I mean? The guy I was fighting was a lot shorter than me, and I'd been working on a lot of keeping that distance, and I think it was your man Lewis Gerard or something with the fight, and he comes forward pretty fast, and it was turning off real quick, and then the dimensions would change. Like Chris had the same reach as me, and he fought different, and it was just one of them things, you know what I mean? At the moment, but I could have said no to that fight and just done somewhat, but I didn't. I just knuckled down, and that's what I do. I would have fought anybody that day, to be honest.
Why do you think people are so sort of taken by the Irish fighters? Like, why has this become such a big deal? I mean, we've seen waves of Canadians come in, Japanese fighters. I mean, fighters from all parts of the world, but you guys, this has been this movement of sorts, you know, and people are captivated. They can't get enough of watching you guys and listening to your interviews and following you. I know why the Irish fans are so infatuated with you, because you're one of them, now making it on the big stage. But why do you think this has become such a story, such a big part of MMA in the last year?
Well, even when I look at other interviews now, when I look at guys, I can kind of see it. I can see what it is. Some people are afraid to just express nothing. They're afraid to just get out of the box, to step out of line. That's what it is. Like I'll step out of line. I'll say, this is me. You know what I mean? Take me who I am. I am one of you. Back in Dublin, there's 100 of me walking around my housing estate. You know what I mean? This is who I am, and I just happen to flower into what I put my mind to, and I'm very grateful for that. So I'll always stand up for that. When other guys are like, I'm going to do my best, I'm going to give it everything, training's going great, and it's like, so I listen to some interviews and I'm snoring, you know what I mean? But we're just like, it's the spirit, you can see it in us. We are passionate people, and we bring that passion to fight. That passion has saved our country over all the years, you know what I mean? We ain't afraid to take them pitchforks out, you know what I mean? And go after whoever it is that's attacking. And I bring that to the cage with me. I go there to fight, to lay her out on the line and just do it. You know what I mean? Where other people they're so nervous, and they're so like, the nerves are there. Someone's gonna hit you. You know what I mean? That's the nerves that I get, but not the nerves of like I must win. I don't put that pressure on myself. It shows. You know what I mean? I perform. I get to be the guy that I am in the gym. In the cage, it doesn't matter how many thousand people are there. You
mentioned your son, and off camera you told me an amazing story about your son. He's coming to this fight.
Yeah, he's coming. This is going to be his first time to ever see me fight live.
7 years old.
7 years of age.
The pride of your life, the apple of your eye.
Yeah, my fuel source. He's my energy. So,
how did you come to the decision of I mean, you fought in Ireland before. He's never gone to those fights.
Yeah.
Why is he coming to this one?
Because I was in Ireland. I didn't really know. I didn't understand the ground. You know what I mean? The terrain we were going to approach that day, and it probably was like it would have been so mad. His mother probably would have just threw him off somewhere, and he probably would have been flown around the arena and would have bumped into Ariel or something. But yeah, it was just so mad that day. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew when the UFC were coming here that they weren't expecting what was that. I could have sat there people down and said, listen lads, this is going to go off the hook, because that's the way Ireland is, you know what I mean? And where I live, the train that, you know, pulls straight in by the hotel, that's where it leaves from Talley, so where I'm from. So like, people were telling me like, oh, like this is full all day long, all the stops are full, and it's like, it's pandemonium on other parts of the city. And the minute that starts happening, something big is going down in Dublin. Could be all Ireland Day, like a Gaelic football final or something like that. I knew it was going to be that big. So for my son coming over to this one's right. You know what I mean? I told him, listen, I can see you for an hour or two, and he's going to get to see America for his first time, and it's going to be an experience to him no matter what. And he gets to quit the school, and there was news on Monday and say, you know, I went to America to my dad, and they're going to be like, here he is with the lies again, because they don't believe him.
They don't believe him?
No, I do approach many little groups of children out on the road and be like, yes, I am his father, and yes, I do fight in the UFC, and they're like, Oh, because it's
So
just
you called him on Monday and said, because he didn't know, right?
I sent him a message. There's actually a really, really cool video I did.
Okay.
I sent him a message, a voice message, and I got his mother to record him listening to it.
Wow.
And
What'd you say?
I just said to him, how do you fancy about coming to America this week to see me fight in a 20,000 stadium, and we'll chill out and we'll get some ice cream on Monday, and he literally, can we go on Friday? I think he was trying to get the day off school, but
Sure.
his reaction is priceless. He's a great little kid, you know what I mean? He's real in his history. He knows his where he comes from and his bloodline. He knows that with our name Holohan, that this is something that like Holohan means proud man. So this is what he's going to do. His name is Tiernan, which means son of a lord.
Wow.
So proud man, son of a lord. So
does he understand what you do? Does he
yeah,
get?
100%. And he will. He's so clever. I could sit him on this chair and he could have this conversation with us as well.
Wow.
He's a real clever kid, you know what I mean? He's
How do you think he'll react to seeing you live in the cage fighting?
I don't know, to be honest, but I think that's going to be an experience he's going to have to go through because it's been good all of it. He watched the last one and that it looked worse than it actually was, to be honest. And like I suppose I heard that, like one of my friends, Adam. He's been there from the start. We went through school and all together, and when he was in the O2, he had a panic attack and all. He was like, you know, people are seriously involved in this emotionally. It's not just like, yeah, my friend's a badass cage fighter, and,
Sure,
you know what I mean? Like, this is like, all right, well, Paddy has a chance to make something of his life here, and this could change everything for him and his whole family. And like, there's not a lot of people in my family that have grown up and done things with their life, you know what I mean? And there's not a lot to show for the Holohan clan as it is, and I plan on taking this out. Like I plan on changing the whole tide from my family, you know what I mean, and making us these positive people that will chase their dreams. I have a cousin that's he's after it already. He plays like probably high level soccer back home, and I have another cousin and she's with the program as well. So I plan on just planting a whole new generation of Holahans, and when this game's finished, I plan I'm gonna have 100 kids out here.
And you also, correct me if I'm wrong, you take a lot of pride in being the first one. Like some people would be like, you know, main event, but you like to, when you're fighting with your teammates, be the first one out to sort of set the tone, like in Dublin, right? And that's what you'll do on Sunday.
Yeah.
Why do you take pride in that?
The Vikings used to use these people called berserkers, and they were people that would they work themselves into crazy rages, and they wouldn't care about the outcome, like whether they lived or whether they died or what happened. It was just that moment, and their job was to go there and kind of be the first line of attack. They used to cover themselves in animal fats and run in. People say they used to be like they used to get high on hallucinogenics and alcohol and just go mental. And I think the idea of that is awesome. You know what I mean? Running down the battlefield in your nip, covered in animal fat, not knowing whether you're going to come back. You know what I mean? I don't think people ever get that freedom in their mind anymore. And when I'm walking down that ramp, I'm thinking, I can't even explain what I'm thinking. Like sometimes I'm laughing. There's pictures of me like, and there's only a certain smile that I do when it's at that time, and it's this crazy smile. There's a great photograph of it. I'll show it to you, and it's that's what it is for me. But going out first and putting that show on in Dublin, I knew I was at the lining up something. I was like, after that performance, I went into the crowd and I was like, if Cottle does it, Neil Seary does it, and Conor does it, we've literally entered into the history books in Ireland forever. We were sporting heroes, and they're sporting heroes like kings. You know what I mean? I have sporting heroes like, there's a guy called Robbie Keane. He plays for LA Galaxy.
Yep.
He lives in my housing estate. And to me, that man, you know what I mean? He's amazing. He comes home, he plays football with all the kids, and I actually did his celebration after Dublin.
Oh, really?
That cartwheel and the thing is Robbie
wow.
Keane's thing, and he would be a big inspiration in my life to say, you can do it. You can get up. You can get that dollars. You know what I mean? You can make it in America. You can do whatever you want to do. And
you still live in the same house that you grew up in?
Yeah, I still live in
Exact same house.
Exact same house.
You've never lived in another house?
I've lived in another house. I lived around a little bit. I lived in Mayo. I lived in Belfast City.
Okay.
For a good while. But we've always had the same house. We've had the same house since I was 1 year of age.
So I'm wondering if, are you ready to move on to, are you going to start getting, fancy clothes, big house, cars. That's it. You're gonna stay there?
Stay in the Jobstown forever.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, forever. It's just literally me and my mother in the house at the moment. So like I moved there for a while, but then I kind of realised then there's no reason to leave my mother there on her own and be going on. And it's a 3-bedroom house. All my neighbours are brilliant, you know what I mean? And we all look after each other. It's a real close-knit community. And now there is little bollocks in the estate, but that's just comes with everything, you know what I mean? But with my mum's house, it's such a lovely little moment sometimes. Like I sit there with my dog at the fire, and that to me is just nothing.
Heaven.
Yeah, just what else is there?
With a cup of tea?
Yeah, of course, a cup of tea. And my mum would. Anytime you come in the door, my mum, you're like, do you want a cup of tea? It's so nice sometimes, you know what I mean? Now, but she wouldn't clean up any of that dog shit around, because it's only a puppy I have.
Okay.
So she'd be, no way, I'm not touching that, but she'd make you a cup of tea. So I take what it is, so I clean up the dog crap, and she makes the tea. But it's a beautiful little thing I have. And then my son comes up as well, and he loves my mum, and just seeing the two of them together, and he tells her things now and all. It's mad, it's crazy.
I want to show you something cool. They told us that we can actually recreate the act of throwing the tea over the into the water from the boat, which I feel like would be somewhat troubling for you, because if it was in today's world, it would be over $1 million worth of tea that they threw over, and I feel like that's almost like the worst thing that you could think of. But we have a chance to recreate it. So are you interested in doing this with me?
I definitely am. I would be more excited to do this because it was the British who were affected when the tea got thrown over.
Right.
So if you need me to throw some tea over somewhere, you just point me in the direction.
All right, let's do it.
Get this done.
Let's do it.
Oh, no, I couldn't leave that bow hay there.
Yeah, that's right. Finish it up.
that bow hay up.
Yes, I don't even. I'll do the. Cheers.
That's that expensive tea. We never even done a Shane Howell.
To Paddy Holohan.
To the legacy.
Tea shipped for this port by the East India Company has now arrived in Boston Harbor.
This wasn't even good tea. This was a surplus of tea that the East India Company found that they had in their warehouses in London. And they sent it over to us because they figured, well, the American colonists won't know the difference between good tea and expired tea.
Did Chinese people pack this in with their feet? I already made that inside. This guy, if you ever suck at that fighting stuff, you know, come back here and throw some tea with us guys. I would though. I would rock one of these outfits. Yeah. I would all
You should start coming out to this.
I am.
Could you?
I'll just blend in with you. I don't want paid or anything, you know. I just want.
How would the Boston crowd react if you came out to your fight wearing this on Sunday?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
That would be something. Maybe you guys can make a little switch.
I plan on getting one of them. But, this is going to be a crazy thing. If he's not there, you should definitely come around. Yeah, it's there's tickets left as well.
Yeah, there's like 2,000. But you guys watch cage fighting in the 1700s? I'm not sure if we're supposed to be the 1700s or the 20th.
We had our own special street brawls. Yeah.
There you go.
I know the Irish, they used to call it fisticuffs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, do you think the Hooligan would have been able to thrive as a fighter in the bare knuckle days? John L. Sullivan and those guys?
No problem, man. No problem. If take them gloves off, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. It's I think for Irish people, fighting was always a social thing with alcohol, wasn't it? And not so much anymore now. You know what I mean? Because you get arrested now. But back then, it was a fight, a handshake, and a move on. And I still like that idea. You know what I mean? Some people go to guns now and things like that now. I think that was a real good way to solve something. You know what I mean? As they say, what's that saying? There was a man that once broke his nose with his own mouth. that's the Irish saying, you know what I mean? So you would shake hands and they would go back to drinking Guinness.
All right, so let's toss these bad boys.
Did you care to
Sure.
away?
All right. Friends, King George and Lord North, they would make us vassals of a greedy monarchy, and these are the tools they would use to rob us of our rights. Do you want to pay the king's taxes? No! Our governor has ordered us to unload this cargo, so I say we shall unload it for him. line up behind these crates of tea for me, friends. Grab a hold of these crates of tea and
Gotta take that one right there.
3, 2, 1,
Back arse.
That felt great. That felt nice. Like a release.
Let's show him over.
Wow. That was fun. And then what did they do?
All day.
We had 108 after that, so.
I'm gonna whale you on it.
Next round.
All right, Paddy, so what did you think? What was the experience like?
I was really good, man.
Yeah?
It was good to share that with you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you very
It really
much.
was. This is definitely something I've always wanted to do, you know what I mean? But I would have been loving that peppermint tea up at the bow first.
Not your style.
No, not my style.
Your favorite is the bouquet.
Yeah, goupé.
Why?
Good breakfast tea, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's the way forward, you know? I'm actually looking forward to a nice breakfast with some breakfast tea and some roll and some red sauce.
That would be on Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah.
Monday.
Tell me, is there a moment where you drank tea, like there's a moment that sticks out, your favorite tea drinking moment, a special moment to you, an emotional moment, one that you remember enjoying something or something happened in your life and a cup of tea was involved? Anything that comes to mind?
At a time in Canada, really cold, walking up the road, freezing, went into a little China shop. The guy fills me out a glass of this Chinese tea, and I didn't know whether to drink it. It was kind of like the Gremlins moment, you know, where he's in the little shop. So I drank it, and it felt so warm inside my stomach and things like that. And I've had a good few moments like that. Back to my grandmother's house and things like that. And so loads of good memories surrounded by tea. Tea is peace, you know what I mean? Tea is a good sauce.
And so here we are, Friday morning. The fight is Sunday. How are you passing the time mentally? How are you getting ready for Sunday? What are you doing?
Well, I've been getting ready mentally for this for well before at the landing in Boston, and I'm 100% mentally ready to go in there and throw down and give everything. Whoever has to face me there on Sunday night is in a serious situation to get locked in a cage with me, to be honest.
What do you want to say to all those people? I was told around 12% of the tickets were sold to Irish fans coming over, and I know there's a truckload, a plane load of them coming. What do you want to say to those people who support you and travel everywhere for you guys?
Let's paint that town green, guys, and let's show them that it's not just in Dublin. We can bring Dublin to Boston as well.
And like you said to Dana White, you infest, right?
We infest
you said that
the
to him
place.
on the
We
Ultimate Fighter.
We infest the place. Look how many Irish fighters we have in the UFC now. I say our country is pound for pound the most fighters, the most wins at the moment. This is going to be forever. This is not just a little phase. This is going to be forever. This is going to change the whole face of the game, I think. The Irish fighters coming into the thing. And I know because I can see the grassroots behind me, you know. I know the kids coming up they're hungry, more hungry than ever, seeing us getting it. And so this is going to be terrorized for ages, Ariel.
I can't wait. Final thing, Conor's so good at predictions. He's always saying, you know, he said for this fight, under 60 seconds. Actually, John said under 60 seconds. Conor said 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Cathal is very good at predictions. What's the prediction for your fight?
I'm going to win.
That's it.
I'm going to win.
You want that W.
I think in our division it's very diverse, you know what I mean? It ain't going to happen. It goes so fast. But I'd like to find us back and choke him.
Can't wait. Best of luck to you. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Great fun.
Paddy Holohan, everyone, fights this Sunday, Fox Sports 1, UFC Fight Night. McGregor versus Seaver, just a couple of days away.